welcome on stage, dear Harsha. Let me
Thank you.
know. Very
Okay.
good. We can hear you. We can see you. Let me quickly introduce you, Harsha Rajasimha, CEO and founder of Jeeva Clinical Trials. And yeah, as you can see, he will talk about demystifying. Uh, yeah, the role. Thank you. The role of AI in clinical trials, hype and myth or real. Harsha, the stage is yours. Everything works well.
Thank you so much, Christoph, for inviting me to this exciting 2 days of virtual interactions and conference. Um, as Christoph mentioned, I lead Jeeva Clinical Trials and Indo-US Organization for Rare Diseases, as well as academic affiliation with the School of Systems Biology at George Mason University. As a disclaimer, I did use AI in assisting me to prepare this presentation. The inefficiencies in clinical trials cause sponsors significant delays. A typical clinical trial takes about 10 steps, including starting with protocol design, site selection, and approvals needed by institutional review boards or ethics committees prior to starting the study, configuring the study and protocol itself, recruiting patients, clinician assessments, follow up visits, and patient reported outcomes if it's part of the protocol, returning results back to patients, analyzing and submitting for regulatory approval. And 1 in 10 submissions do result in an approval. And this process may need to happen in a phase one study, phase two, and phase three um, before it's ready for approval, and which can typically take 7 to 9 years in the clinical trial phases and cost over $2.5 billion per approved drug as 1 in 10 fail or 1 in 10 succeed. And so these inefficiencies in getting these drugs through the regulatory process is very real. What makes it so inefficient is what we went out and asked our clinical trial sponsors, CROs, sites, patients, regulators, all the stakeholders. And what we heard, number one, patient recruitment and retention. How do we ensure we can recruit fast enough patients that's necessary in a clinical trial that meet all the eligibility criteria? But the complexity of protocol can come in the way, and sometimes amendments have to be made to these protocols, and manual repetitive tasks that have to be completed in a clinical trial, especially at the clinical trial sites. The coordinators and the investigators have to repeat the same process for every single patient during their visits, and that can be quite cumbersome, tedious, and time consuming, and also error prone. Also, about 30 different vendors or tools are typical in a clinical trial. Even when we engage a full service CRO, the CRO may in turn have to engage multiple vendors on their end to make one study successful. On top of this, there is new expectations of ensuring diverse patient populations in a study, which adds an extra layer of complexity. And the cost is always a consideration as to how we can get this all done in an efficient way. So, our hero in the story in clinical trials is the head of clinical trial operations who has tasked with, here is a protocol, go and execute this efficiently. And for this head of ClinOps to get the clinical trial off the ground, this elephant has a number of pieces of the puzzle that have to come together to get the first patient, first visit milestone that everybody in the industry is eager to see that happen. On the other hand, the other part of the topic today is artificial intelligence, which refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines, right, that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. So in automotive industry, this could mean autonomous driving technology, for example, enhancing vehicle safety and navigation. In the finance industry, it could